In the heart of a lush, vibrant village called Mbanza, nestled between rolling hills and the winding Nzadi River, lived a man named Adani. Adani was known throughout the village as a kind and gentle soul, always with a smile on his face and a story to share. He was deeply loved by his community and even more so by his family. Adani had two beautiful daughters, Zina and Amani. Zina, the older of the two at 16, was known for her wisdom beyond her years and her ability to calm any storm with her gentle words. Mina, 14, was a spirited and energetic girl who brought laughter and joy to everyone around her with her playful antics and infectious smile. Every morning, Adani would walk with Zina and Mina to the village school, holding their hands and listening to their dreams and hopes for the future. He would often tell them stories of his own childhood, of the adventures he had by the river, and the lessons he learned from his elders. In the evenings, he would sit with them under the baobab tree, singing old songs and sharing tales of the stars above. Adani's love for his daughters was clear to everyone. He cherished every moment with them, teaching them the values of kindness, respect, and love for their heritage. He often looked at them with pride, marveling at how they were growing into strong, compassionate young women. But behind the joy and laughter, a shadow loomed over Adani's heart. For years, he had ignored the whispers and the strange looks from some of the villagers. He had brushed off the doubts that sometimes crept into his mind late at night. After all, his love for Zina and Mina was pure and unwavering. They were his daughters, and nothing could change that. However, everything changed one fateful afternoon. Adani had returned home early from the fields to surprise his family with a special feast he had prepared. As he entered the house, he heard his wife, Amara, talking to her sister, Nia. Their voices were low, but the words were clear. "How long can you keep the secret, Amara?" Nia's voice was filled with concern. "Adani deserves to know the truth." Amara sighed heavily. "I know Nia, but I can't bear to hurt him. He's been such a good father to Zina and Mina. I, I don't know how to tell him that they are not his biological daughters." Adani felt his world collapse around him. The words struck him like a spear to the heart. For a moment, he stood frozen, unable to comprehend the depth of the betrayal. Then, with a deep breath, he stepped into the room. Amara and Nia turned towards him, their faces pale with shock. "Adani," Amara began, her voice trembling. I can explain." But Adani couldn't listen. He felt as if the ground had been pulled from under his feet. The man who had always been a pillar of strength and love now felt an overwhelming wave of pain and confusion. Without a word, Adani walked past them and out into the open air. The village, usually so full of life and color, now seemed distant and blurred. He found himself by the Nzadi River, the place where he had shared so many happy moments with his daughters. The gentle flow of the water had always been a source of peace for him, but now it offered no solace. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Adani sat by the river's edge, tears streaming down his face. He loved Zina and Mina with all his heart. They were his world, his reason for living. But now he felt lost, unsure of what the future held. In the distance, he could hear the faint laughter of his daughters, unaware of the storm brewing in their father's heart. Adani knew he had to find a way to face the truth, to understand what had happened and why. But for now, all he could do was grieve for the life he thought he knew. As the night descended, the village of Mbanza stood silent, holding its breath for what was to come. The journey ahead for Adani was uncertain and filled with pain. But somewhere in his heart, he held on to a glimmer of hope that love would find a way to heal the wounds and bring light back into their lives. As night fell over Mbanza, Adani sat by the Nzadi River, his thoughts a tangled web of love and betrayal. The moon cast a silvery glow on the water, reflecting the turmoil in his heart. He felt lost, unable to reconcile the life he had cherished with the painful truth he had just discovered. When the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Adani knew he had to face his family. With a heavy heart, he made his way back to the house. The air was still cool, and the village was waking up to the sound of roosters crowing and the hum of morning activities. At home, Amara sat by the window, her eyes red from crying. She looked up as Adani entered, her expression a mix of fear and sorrow. Zina and Mina were still asleep, unaware of the storm that had swept through their family. Adani, Amara began, her voice breaking. I am so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I I loved you, but there were mistakes, and I was weak. Adani listened, his heart heavy. Why, Amar? Why didn't you tell me the truth? Tears streamed down Amar's face. I was afraid of losing you, of hurting you. And when Zina and Mina were born, you loved them so much. They became your whole world. How could I take that away from you? Adani took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. I've always loved them, Amara. They are my daughters, no matter what. But I need to understand. Who was their biological father? Amara hesitated, then whispered, Mosi. It was a long time ago, before we were married. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Mosi. Adani knew him well. He was a trader who often passed through Mbanza, charming and charismatic. The realization brought a fresh wave of pain. How could someone he considered a friend betray him like this? Just then, Zina and Mina appeared at the door, rubbing sleep from their eyes. They looked at their parents, sensing the tension in the room. What's going on? Zina asked, her voice filled with concern. Adani turned to them, his heart aching. How could he explain this to them? How could he shatter their world with the truth? He took a deep breath. Girls, there is something I need to tell you. It's very hard, but you deserve to know the truth. Zina and Mina listened, their eyes wide with shock and confusion, as Adani told them about their biological father. Mina burst into tears, running into Adani's arms. You're my father, she cried. You're the only father I know. I don't care about anything else. Zina stood silently, her face pale. After a moment, she stepped forward and took Adani's hand. We love you, Papa. We always will. This doesn't change anything. Adani's heart swelled with love and pride. He hugged his daughters tightly, feeling the warmth of their embrace. Despite the pain and the betrayal, their bond remained unbroken. They were his daughters, and nothing could change that. The days that followed were difficult. The news spread through the village, and whispers filled the air. Mosi returned to Mbanza, his face filled with regret and shame. He approached Adani one evening, as the sun was setting over the hills. Adani, Mosi began, his voice trembling. I am so sorry. I never meant to hurt you or your family. Please forgive me. Adani looked at Mosi, his emotions a tumultuous mix. Forgiveness was not easy, but Adani knew that holding on to anger and bitterness would only poison his heart. I don't know if I can forgive you, Mosi, Adani said slowly. But for the sake of my daughters, I will try. They need peace, and so do I. Mosi nodded, tears in his eyes. Thank you, Adani. I will do whatever I can to make amends. With time, the village of Mbanza began to heal. Adani and Amara worked to rebuild their relationship, learning to trust and love each other again. Zina and Mina continued to thrive, their bond with their father growing even stronger. One evening, as they sat by the Nzadi River, Adani looked at his daughters and felt a deep sense of peace. Despite the pain and the trials, they had come through it together. They were a family, bound by love and the unbreakable ties of the heart. The stars shone brightly above them, a reminder of the infinite possibilities of hope and renewal. Adani knew that their journey was far from over, but with his daughters by his side, he was ready to face whatever the future held. And so, in the heart of Africa, by the gentle flow of the Nzadi River, Adani found the strength to forgive, to love, and to move forward, knowing that the bonds of family were stronger than any storm.